Prabhuji, your voice is breaking badly and I'm not able to hear you.
One second. I have okay. Just to take the headset. Is it not at all clear, Prabhu?
Now it is little better.
Little better, Prabhu. Okay, we'll near to the microphone. Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Must be better. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Ram Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Kunja Vihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha, Giridhara, Janaranja, Yamuna Tiravana Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Vijayavallabha Giridhara Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Gaurav Chari Nirvisesha Vachachadeshatari Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Yadavaya Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Gopal Govinda Srimad Bhagavatam Girivara Gopinada Madana Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita Hari Krishna Gita Sanatana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Swami Jai Jagannath.
जय
बलदेव बलदेव, जय बलदेव स्वामी जय बलदेव, जय सुभद्रा जय सुभद्रा, जय सुभद्रा मुझे जय सुभद्रा, जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी, नयन पथगामी तुमने, जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी, नयन पथगामी भाव तुम्हें, जय गौरांग जय गौरांगो, निताय गौरांग
निताय
गौरांग, जय गौरांगो, निताय गौरांग गौरांगी, जय सच्चिनंदन जय सच्चिनंदन, जय सच्चिनंदन हरि, पतित पावन पतित पावन पतित पावन गौरंगी, जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव गुरुदेव, जय गुरु, निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल, निताय गौर
नाम
कीर्तन की जय
संपाद की
जय। Continue with prayers, Prabhu. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं, वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी नमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिभवतिनैष्टिकी, कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदाय ते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गुरुपिषे नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये। नमो ब्राह्मण्यदेवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य सतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर निवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna. Very much. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji is Mataji's Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji is Mataji's Danot. Hare Krishna, Ramred Prabhu, Danot Pranam. Hare Krishna, Praveen Prabhu, Puja Mataji, Danot Pranam. If my voice is clear,
Dandana Prabhuji.
is my voice is good, Prabhu?
It's still little
It is
low,
low?
Prabhuji, but still better than earlier.
Okay, Prabhu, just give me a second. Hare Krishna, is this better, Prabhu?
Yeah, this is better, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Is this better, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji, this is perfect. Let's go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Teja Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Hare Krishna, Akinchan Prabhu, Dandot Pranam, Prabhu. Akinsha, Hare Krishna, Raju Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandana Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Saumya Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Hare Krishna, Sri Gopal Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hope my screen is visible, Prabhu. So, Hare Krishna, just before starting, I have no qualification, Prabhuji's Mataji's. Forget about reading and studying and discussing, forget about all that. I don't even have a qualification to touch Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam. I am such a most fallen soul on the planet, Prabhuji's Mataji's. It is just mercy of Lilananda Prabhu and Balgovind Prabhu. So I could just touch, okay, Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam, the books, the Shastras, and the mercy of Vaishnavas, okay, purely from the bottom of my heart I'm saying I don't even have qualification to even to see them or touch them, okay. It is just the mercy, okay, of the Vaishnavas like you all. That's all. So today we are continuing the Bhagavatam study, fourth canto, the sixth chapter, which is Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva, part 2. Yesterday the Ashraj Prabhu has did around 30 to 33 slokas, and we are continuing that, okay, and that is the reason I just called it as a part 2. We'll continue that. Here I just gave a very high level picture. Okay, what are the sections are there in this particular chapter? So overall, this particular chapter, which is Brahma satisfied Lord Shiva, where we all know the what happened because of the insult. Sati left her body, and and then and then we all know that like what happened in the later. Okay, we have seen the chapters, previous chapters, and here the Brahma is started intervening. Like all the demigods, devatas don't know what to do, so they they asked Brahma to involve and to do something. Okay, because the yajna was incomplete. Okay, and then Lord Shiva was angry, and to pacify Lord Shiva and everything, like uh, Brahma started involving. So in this particular chapter in 4.6, Brahma satisfied Lord Shiva. He started pacifying. So yesterday we have seen these three sections. Okay, mostly we have seen these sections. One is demigods approached Lord Brahma for the help. That is what Dasraj Prabhu explained. And then the description of Kailasha hill. So in depth, we understood this. Okay, description almost like 9 to 22 slokas. We understood how the Kailasha hill. Okay, so we also inspired. Okay, to go there, and go to the spiritual planet. That is where we got inspiration yesterday. And then 20 to 31. Okay, description of the Alaka region. Okay, where Saunika, the forest. Okay, so Saugandhika forest, Nanda and Alakananda rivers, and the demigods. Okay, how they are enjoying over there, and all the description of Maniyantri. This is where we stopped over there yesterday in the sloka. So that is where the third section. Okay, the fourth section starts. That is where Darshana of Lord Shiva as seen by demigods. That is what we are covering, the majority part from the sloka 32 to 41, and then 40 to 53. We will be seeing the Brahma glorifies Lord Shiva and petitions him. Okay, to forgive Daksha whatever he has done. Okay, so today we are going to see these two sections. Okay, so let us start. So just to make it little more clear, I just again gave little more details over here on the section 4 and section 5. What is that we are covering? So in section 4, we are covering darshan. Okay, darshan of Lord Shiva as seen by demigods because they reached the Kailasha, okay, planet or mountain. Okay, and that is what we are seeing. Okay, how Shiva is sitting over there. Shiva was sitting gravely under the banyan tree, surrounded by Kumaras, okay, and Kubera and Narada, okay, with an audience of great sages. That is what we will see little more details. And by seeing Brahma, Lord Shiva offered his respects. Okay, that we will see. That ends section 4. And section 5, Brahma glorifies Lord Shiva and petitions him. Okay, so 40 to 45th sloka, we understand that okay, Brahma start glorifying Shiva, saying that like you created this universe, a system of sacrifice and varnashrama, and you ordain various destinations. You grant various destinations. That's what he glorifies that Lord Shiva. And then sadhus, he explains further. He says that sadhus very compassionate. So please spare sinful Daksha who is influenced by Maya. So he clearly saying that okay, Daksha is a very sinful, but he's influenced because of Maya. So please spare him. Please spare his sinful activities. That is what he requests. Okay. The next one, please accept your sacrificial share and revive Daksha. Okay. Revive Daksha, Bhagha, and Bhrugu and Pusa. Okay. These are Maharshis who got punished. Okay. Because they are part of the sacrifice. Okay. And other demigods. So Brahma is um, requesting to spare them. Okay, for these four, Bhaga, Bhruga, and Pusa and Daksha, okay, are the demigods. So that is a very high level context. So let's go into the subject. So I'm just because this section is started with 32. So even though 32, 33 is being covered yesterday, I just put it together so that the completeness point of view. That's all. So the sloka 32. Yesterday we have seen this sloka that the banyan tree was 800 miles high. Yesterday, Dasraj Prabhu very detailed explained it is of 800 miles high. We can't imagine Prabhuji's Mataji's. We can only imagine little to extent by seeing the big banyan trees in our forest or nearby. So we can imagine 800 miles high. And its branches spread around 600 miles around the branches. The tree cast a fine shade which is permanently cooled the temperature, and there was a no noise of birds. Okay, it is perfect place for chanting, for meditation. So generally in every tree there are birds and nest, and the birds congregate in the evening and create noise. But it appears that this banyan tree was devoid of nest, and therefore it was calm, quiet, and peaceful. There were no disturbances from the noise of it, and therefore this place was just suitable for meditation. That is the purport Prabhupada has mentioned. So I think it is pretty clear. We can only imagine with our closing eyes, with our mind. That's all. This particular tree. So I'm moving on to the sloka 33. Even this also we discussed. Uh, the demigods saw the Lord Shiva sitting under the tree, which was competent to give a perfection to the mystic yugas and deliver all the people. Okay, as grave at this time eternal, he appeared to give up all anger. Seems to be quite peaceful, and he gave up all his anger. Okay, that is a description we could see here in sloka 33. So in these words, the Mahayogamaya is very significant. Okay, where do we see Mahayogamaya? Here you see Mahayogamaya is very significant. Yoga means meditation on the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. So here Prabhupada has given definition of yoga. Okay, yoga means not just asanas. Okay, today many of the people think yoga means just asanas, but here the definition Prabhupada is giving. Yoga means meditation on the Supreme Person of the Godhead. That is means yoga. Means you are connecting to the Supreme. That is what is yoga. And Mahayoga means what? Who engage in the devotional services of Vishnu. If somebody is engaging in the devotional service of Vishnu, means that person is in Mahayoga. Okay. Meditation means remembering and smaranam. Not closing eyes and sleeping. No. Or meditation doesn't mean that, okay, some meditation on some light or void. No, that is not meditation. Here, Prabhupada is very clear. Meditation means remembering and smaranam. We have to be very clear. So there is a lot of education on this meditation. Most of the people today, the so-called in corporate world or non-corporate world, people don't know what is meditation. Okay. Here, Bhagavatam says meditation means remembering. Of what? Remembering smaranam. Of what? Supreme Personality of the Godhead, Krishna. Okay. So there are 9 different kinds of devotional services. Okay. Of which smaranam is one process. The yogi remembers the form of Vishnu within his heart. Thus, there were many devotees engaged in meditation of Lord Vishnu under the big banyan tree. That is what they are doing. The Sanskrit word Maha is derived from the affix Mahat. This affix is used when there is a great number of quantity. So Mahat Yoga indicates that there were many great yogis and devotees meditating on the form of Lord Vishnu. Okay. What yogis were doing? They were meditating on the form of Lord Vishnu. That is what we also have to follow the finger. Okay. We should follow the steps. Okay. The footsteps of the yogis. Okay. What they are doing, they are meditating in the form of Lord Vishnu. Generally, such meditators are desirous of liberation from the material bondage, and they are promoted to the spiritual world, to one of such Vaikunthas. Liberation means freedom from the material bondage. Okay, liberation means what? Freedom from the material bondage or nuisance. In the material world, we are suffering life after life. That's what we are doing, right? In this material world, we want to stick here. If anybody wants to stick here, we are going to suffer life after life because of our bodily identification. And the liberation is freedom from this miserable condition of life. That is what he's talking about. So in future, when we say banyan tree, okay, we should get this kind of picture. Okay, well, Lord Shiva is sitting with his Narada and great sages and discussing on the devotional service. Okay, that we should remember, and we should go and do one mala over there. That is what in future when we see banyan tree we should remember this scene from Bhagavatam. Okay, so I think it is easy for us to understand. We can move to the next sloka, sloka 34. So Prabhuji's Mataji's, at any time, okay, if anything is not clear or I'm not talking very appropriate, please stop me immediately. Okay, I have, as I initially mentioned, I have no qualification, zero qualification to even read about or talk about Bhagavatam. All right. So I'll move on with your permission. Hope my voice is clear, Shri Gopal Prabhu. No, I can proceed, I guess.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Okay. Sloka 34, translation. Lord Shiva sat there surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera, Kubera, the master of Guhyakas, and the 4 Kumaras who were already liberated souls. Lord Shiva was grave and saintly. So let us understand the purport. The personality sitting with the Lord Shiva are significant because the 4 Kumaras were already liberated from birth. Okay, because now we are in 4th canto, we know the Kumaras. Okay, they are great personalities, they are already liberated. So it may be remembered that after their birth, these Kumaras were requested by their father to get married and beget the children in order to increase the population of newly created universe. But they were refused. And at that time, Lord Brahma was angry. In that angry mood, Rudra or Lord Shiva was born. So they were trying to, Prabhupada is giving more explanation on Kumaras and Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva born after Kumaras, because he got angry. So thus they were intimately related, because Lord Shiva born just after that. So they are intimately related. Kuvera, the treasure of demigods. We all know that. Kuvera is a treasure of demigods. He is head of all money, right? All wealth. He is he's a treasurer. I would not say wealth. He's a treasurer. He's head of treasure of the demigods. He's fabulous rich. Thus, the Lord Shiva is association with the Kumaras and Kuvera indicates that he has all the transcendental material opulences. He has everything. Lord Shiva has everything. So, as he has a transcendental as well as material opulences. Actually, finally he's saying that, Prabhupada is saying, actually, he's a qualitative incarnation of Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva is nothing but what? Incarnation of Supreme Lord. But what? Qualitative incarnation. Therefore, his position is very exalted. So it has been mentioned here. This is just extra information. I got it from some other sources. Lord Shiva possesses 80%, 84% of Krishna qualities. 84%. So I don't know where the propaganda came saying that ISKCON is against, the Shiva. So I don't know. It's glorified in such a way by Bhagavatam and the purports of Prabhupada, and I really can't understand. Where all this propaganda came. So in fact, I could think that ISKCON glorified Shiva like not like anything. No other organization glorified Shiva like ISKCON. That is my feeling. So with that, I think it is very clear. 84% of Krishna's qualities are with Lord Shiva. So with that, I will move on. There's no much philosophy, but like further explaining by Prabhupada. So I think we can continue here. Sloka 35. The demigods saw Lord Shiva situated in his perfection as the master of senses. So what is that? Lord demigods reached there, right? They have saw Lord Shiva situated in his perfection as a master of senses, knowledge, and fruitive activities, and the path of achieving perfection. He was the friend of the entire world. See the translation. He was by the Srila Prabhupada's translation. He was a friend of the entire world by the virtue of his full affection for everyone. Lord Shiva has affection for everyone and everyone. He was very auspicious. So Prabhupada further expand. Lord Shiva is full of wisdom of tapasya and austerity. One who knows the modes of work is understood to be situated in the path of devotional service to the Supreme Person of the Godhead. One cannot serve the Supreme Person of the Godhead unless one is achieved full perfection of knowledge in the ways and means of the performing devotional service. This we need to spend a minute to understand. One cannot serve the Supreme Person of the Godhead. We are thinking that we are serving the Supreme Person of the Godhead. But unless one achieved full perfection of knowledge, one achieved full perfection of knowledge in the ways of means of performing devotional service. Unless you have the perfection of knowledge, we cannot serve the Supreme Person of the Godhead. That is what is Prabhupada is saying. And Lord Shiva is described here as Adishwaram. Adishwara. Ishvara means controller, and Adishwara means particularly controller of the senses. He is a controller of the senses. So generally, our materially contaminated senses are apt to engage in the sense gratificatory activities. But when a person is elevated by a wisdom and austerity, the senses become purified. They become engaged in the service of Supreme Person of the Godhead. Lord Shiva is an emblem of such perfection. And therefore, in the subscript in scriptures, it is said that Vaishnavanam Yedo Shambho. Lord Shiva is a Vaishnava, Prathama Vaishnava. Lord Shiva, by his actions within this material world, teaches all conditioned souls how to engage devotional service 24 hours a day. So, what is that Lord Shiva is teaching us? He's teaching all the conditioned souls like us and how to engage the devotional service 24 hours in a day. That is what he's teaching us. Therefore, he is described here as a Lokamangala. Who is Lokamangala? Anyone who teaches how to involve our time in the devotional service. Okay, but here Shiva is he's teaching us to involve 24 hours in a day. That because of that reason he's been called as a Lokamangala. Good fortunate, good fortune personified for all conditioned souls. Okay. See, this all is purports in the next few chapters and the previous few chapters. Prabhupada glorifies the Lord Shiva like anything. So whoever is involving in YouTube uploading some videos, like they never gone through. I would personally think that they should go through even at least the translations. Then they will understand how Srila Prabhupada has glorified Lord Shiva. Okay. So let's move on to the next sloka, sloka 36. So Prabhuji's Mataji, anybody wants to read the translation of the sloka 36?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, shall I, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, Ramrit Prabhu. Please go ahead, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He was seated on a deer skin and was practicing all forms of austerity. Because his body was smeared with ashes, he looked like an evening cloud. On his hair was the sign of a half moon, a symbolic representation. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So we know how Lord Shiva, okay, in many of the pictures and all that, he was seated in a deer skin, okay. So that is what very common for any tapasyas, for any meditators, okay, and practicing all forms of austerity. Because if his body was made with ashes, he looked like an evening cloud. That's how evening cloud. Even today's Hyderabad cloud also like that only, okay. On his hair was the sign of half moon. His hair was sign of half moon, a symbolic representation. Lord Shiva's symptoms of austerity are not exactly those of Vaishnava. Lord Shiva is certainly the number one Vaishnava. See, Prabhupada is further is really emphasizing. Lord Shiva is what? Certainly number of Vaishnava. Any Vaishnava do any Vaishnava's aparadha. Vaishnava aparadha is the biggest offense. We know that. Okay. Any offense is much, much bigger than a sin. And Lord Shiva is what? Is number one Vaishnava. That is what is Prabhupada is defining. So is it possible for anybody in the ISKCON to offend a Vaishnava, another Vaishnava? Okay, we can't even offend any jiva. Forget about even a grass, even a plant, even a rock. Okay, we should not offend. So how can we offend? Okay, anyone? It's not possible. So, but he exhibits a feature for a particular class of man who cannot follow the Vaishnava principles. So, the Saivas, the devotees of Lord Shiva, generally dress like a Lord Shiva. And sometimes they indulge in smoking and taking intoxicants. Such practices are never accepted by the followers of Vaishnava rituals. So, if you are following Vaishnava, Vaishnavas means we should completely avoid these practices. That is what Prabhupada is further emphasizing and warning us. Right. So let's move on to the sloka 37. So he was seated on a straw mattress and speaking to all present, including the great sages Narada. Who was there? Narada was there. He was talking to whom? Narada. To whom he specifically spoke about absolute truth. To whom he specifically spoke about absolute truth. So let's understand purport. The Lord was sitting on a mattress of straw because such a sitting place is accepted with a person who are practicing austerities to gain understanding of the absolute truth. In this verse, it is specifically mentioned that he was speaking the great sage Narada, a liberated devotee, a celebrated devotee. To whom he is talking, Lord Shiva? Shiva is talking to Narada. We know about Narada, he's such a great devotee. Narada was asking Lord Shiva is about devotional service, and Shiva is being topmost why Shiva is instructing him. What was they were discussing? They were discussing about devotional service. In other words, Lord Shiva and Narada was discussing the knowledge of Veda. What is the devotional service? Devotional service is a knowledge of Veda, but it to be understood that the subject matter was a devotional service. What is subject matter over there? Devotional service. So another point of this connection is that the Lord Shiva is a supreme instructor over there. And great sage Narada was a supreme audience. Not just Narada, many were sitting over there. Okay. So Narada is a supreme audience. And Lord Shiva is a supreme instructor. Therefore, the supreme subject matter of the Vedic knowledge is bhakti or the devotional service. So, what is that Narada would like to hear always? He would like to hear about Harikatha, devotional service, about bhakti, bhaktas. That is what he would like to hear. That is what he is hearing from Shiva, Lord Shiva. That is what Prabhupada is explaining. So, how great this is. So, we also need to discuss, we also just need to follow the footsteps of that. Okay. Let's move on to the next sloka, sloka number 38. Is this fast and the discussion or the reading of purports and translation understanding is good enough? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, anybody wants to just confirm, are we going in a good direction or we need to change anything?
Prabhu, for me it is good, Prabhu.
Okay,
No.
thank you, bro. Okay, we can move on. So sloka 38, translation. His left leg was placed on his right thigh and his left hand was placed on his left thigh. This is sitting posture of called Virasana. In his right hand, he held in a Rudraksha beads. So in his right finger was mode of argument. So he was just explaining something like this by sitting in that asana posture. Okay, that we are calling it as Virasana. Okay, so anybody wants to read this purport? Prabhuji Mataji, anybody wants to read this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'll read.
Yeah,
Uh,
please, Prabhu.
The sitting posture described herein is called Virasana, according to the system of Ashtanga Yoga performances. In the performance of yoga, there are 8 divisions such as Yama and Niyama, controlling, following the rules and regulation, and then practicing the sitting postures, etc. Point 2. Besides Virasana, there are other sitting postures such as Padmasana, Siddhasana. Practice of these asanas without elevating oneself to the position of realizing the super soul, Vishnu, is not the perfectional stage of yoga. Point 3. Lord Shiva is called Yogeshwara, the master of all yogis, and Krishna is called Yogeshwara. Yogeshwara indicates that no one can surpass the yoga practice of Lord Shiva, and Yogeshwara indicates that no one can surpass the yogic perfection of Krishna. Point 4. Another significant word is Taraka Mudra. This indicates that the fingers are opened and the second finger is raised along with the arm to impress the audience with some subject matter. This is actually a symbolic representation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So how the the Lord Shiva is explaining how he is eating, everything is Vyasadeva has given the purports and further been explained by Prabhupada. Okay, so this is how the Lord Shiva sat and he was explaining something, the philosophy, and he has a Rudrakshamala as well. Okay, let's move to the next sloka. Thank you, Shri Gopal Baba. Thank you. So the sloka 39 translation. All the sages and demigods headed by Indra offered their respective obeisances unto the Lord Shiva. So what Indra and demigods did? They offered the respective obeisances to the Lord Shiva with folded hands. Lord Shiva was dressed up in saffron garments and absorbed in trance, thus appearing to be the foremost of all sages. Okay. So all devatas are sages, okay, headed by Indra, offer their respective obeisances to Shiva. So all these slokas like just explaining, okay, how the Shiva was sitting, what mudra he is there, and how he was sitting, and all that. So there was no much of dense philosophy. So we can move little fast. So in this verse, the word Brahmananda is significant. It is been mentioned here. Brahma, Nirvana means Brahmananda. So that is what is being explained here. The Brahmananda is a significant. The Brahmananda or Brahma Nirvana is explained by Prahlad Maharaj. So what is Brahmananda is giving further explanation by Prabhupada. When one is completely absorbed in Adokshaja, the supreme person of the Godhead, who is beyond the sense perception of the materialistic person, one is situated in Brahmananda. If somebody is in a trance of meditation on the supreme person of the Godhead, he will get Ananda, not just Ananda, Brahmananda. Brahmananda cannot be explained. It can be only experienced. So in English also it is been called it as a bliss. So in fact, I heard at multiple places there is no opposite for bliss. There is no opposite word for Brahmananda. Okay, it's beyond duality. That's what I had read at multiple places. Okay, Brahmananda, there is no duality. So sorrow, happiness, something like that. For everything there will be opposite. For Brahmananda, there is no opposite. So it is impossible. But when we will reach that Brahmananda state, okay, when we are completely absorbed in Adokshaja, that is Supreme Person of the Godhead. So Shiva is in that state. It is impossible to conceive the existence or the name, form, okay, quality and past tense of Supreme Person of the Godhead because he is a transcendental situated beyond the conception of materialistic persons. Because of materialistics cannot imagine or conceive the Supreme Person of the Godhead, they may think that God is dead, unfortunately. But God is dead means God is not there. But factually, he is always existing in his Satchit Ananda Vigraha, in his eternal form. So he is in which form? Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. What does it mean by Vigraha? He has a form. He has a form. It has not left saying that God is Satchit Ananda. No. Vigraha, he has eternal form. Constant meditation, concentrating on the form of the Lord is called Samadhi. Here Prabhupada is giving the meaning of or the definition of Samadhi. What is Samadhi? Constant meditation, concentrated on the form of the Lord, not on void. Okay, today, okay, if you ask somebody what is Samadhi means, say that like just some meditation on some white space or empty space. That is called no. Prabhupada says that Samadhi means concentration on the form of the Lord is called Samadhi. Okay, that is ekasti, ekasti or trance. Samadhi means particularly concentrated attention on one who has achieved the qualification of always meditating on the personality of the Godhead is to be understood to be always in the trance and enjoying Brahma Nirvana or Brahmananda. Lord Shiva exhibited those symptoms, and therefore it is stated that he was absorbed in Brahmananda. Another significant word is Yoga Kakasam. Yoga Kaksa is a sitting posture in which the left thigh is fixed under one tightly knotted saffron colored garment. Also, the word Mununam Adhyam are significant here because they are meant a philosopher or who is thoughtful and can think of very nicely. Such a man is called Manu. Lord Shiva is described in this verse as a chief of the thinkers. It is being mentioned as Manu is a chief of the thinkers. Lord Shiva, of course, does not engage in useless mental speculation. Okay, when he's closing his eyes, he's meditating means he doesn't do mental any speculation. But he stated in the previous verse that he always thoughtful regarding how to deliver the demons from their fallen condition of life. What is that he thinks? How do I deliver these fallen demons on their current condition? That is what he always thinks. It is said that during the advent of Lord Chaitanya, it is very important. This is very important. It is said that during the advent of Lord Chaitanya, Sadhasiva appeared as Advaita Prabhu. So we have Advaita Prabhu. Okay, who is Advaita Prabhu? Sadasiva is appeared as Advaita Prabhu. And Advaita Prabhu is the chief concern. He's always used to concern that was to elevate, how to elevate these fallen conditional souls to platform of devotional service of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, to service to the Lord Krishna. So if you see Chaitanya Charitamritaam, okay, or any of the some of the puppets where okay Prabhupada explained about Advaita Prabhu. So Advaita Prabhu always concerned about how do you elevate these fallen souls? How do you connect these fallen souls to the devotional service so that they will reach Supreme Person of the Godhead? Because Advaita Prabhu is off from Shadashiva. Since the people were engaged in useless occupations which would continue their material existence, Lord Shiva is in the form of Lord Advaita. Appeared to the Supreme Lord, to appear as a Lord Chaitanya to deliver these illusional souls like all of us. Actually, Lord Chaitanya appeared on the request of Lord Advaita. Actually, Lord Chaitanya appeared because of the Lord Advaita did prayers. So he prayed intensely to appear Lord Chaitanya. We heard from multiple acharyas, okay, multiple maharajas, okay, multiple Prabhujis. Like Lord Chaitanya is appeared in the request of Lord Advaita at multiple sessions. Similarly, Lord Shiva has a sampradaya, Rudra sampradaya. He has a Rudra sampradaya. But in Rudra sampradaya, he was always thinking about the deliverance of fallen souls, as exhibited by the Lord Advaita Prabhu. Hope it is very clear. Okay, for us, we can move to the next sloka 40. Okay, so Lord, sloka 40, Lord Shiva. Anybody wants to read the translation, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Kinchan Prabhu. Yeah, please proceed,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Translation: Lord Shiva's lotus feet were worshipped by both the demigods and demons. But still, in spite of his exalted position, as soon as he saw the Lord Brahma was there among the other demigods, he immediately stood up and offered him respect by bowing down and touching his lotus feet, just as Vamanadev offered his respectful obeisances to Kashyapa Muni. Can I go through the purport also?
Yes, Prabhu. Please go ahead, Prabhu. Yeah, please
Purport.
proceed. Yeah.
Purport. Kashyapa Muni was in the category of living entities, but he had a transcendental son, Vamanadev, who was incarnation of Vishnu. Thus, although Lord Vishnu is the supreme personality of Godhead, he offered his respect to Kashyapa Muni. Similarly, when the Lord Krishna was a child, he used to offer his respectful obeisances to his mother and father, Nanda and Yashoda. Also, at the battle of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna touched the feet of Maharaj Yudhishthir because the king was his elder. It appears that the personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva and the Lord devotees, and other devotees, in spite of their being situated in exalted position, instructed by practical examples how to offer obeisances to their superiors. Lord Shiva offered his respectable obeisances to Brahma because Brahma was his father, just as Kashyapa Muni was the father of Vamana.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Kinchan Prabhu. Hare Bol. Wonderful reading. So here, who has offered the obeisances? Lord Shiva offered obeisances to Brahma because Lord Shiva came from Brukati, okay, of Shiva, of Brahma. Okay, Lord Shiva came. So even though the Lord Shiva is exalted position than Brahma, okay, but he offered the obeisances. In fact, he touched the feet. It is been very clear. See, he immediately stood up when Lord Shiva has seen the Brahma. He stood up, offered him the respect by bowing down and touching his lotus feet. He literally touched the lotus feet of Brahma. Just as Vamanadeva offered his respect to Kashyapa Muni. Vamanadeva is what? Supreme Person of the Godhead. But he offered, he generally always does offering to his father Kashyapa Muni. Okay. So these all are learnings for us. Bhagavatam teaches us. Every sloka of Bhagavatam, how to behave, okay, with our superiors, with our elders, okay, with our parents, okay, with our grandparents, okay, how should we behave with them? It teaches us. Doesn't matter, okay. to what level they are into Krishna conscious or not. So it will teach us. It teaches us how we should behave. Okay, our behavior changes by reading Bhagavad. That is the glory of Bhagavad. Our personality changes. As a person, it will change us. So what it is saying, Kasyapa Muni was a category of living entities, but he has a transcendental son, Vamana Deva. So that is what. Also at the battle of Kurukshetra, I can't imagine Prabhuji's mother is. At the battle of Kurukshetra, Prabhupada has written, Lord Krishna touched the feet of Maharaja Yudhishthira because the king was his elder. King was his elder. It appears that the personality of the Godhead, Lord Shiva, and other devotees, in spite of their being situated in exalted positions, Lord Shiva, okay, exalted position, but still instructed by the practical example how the obeisances to their superior. It is basically they are showing us why Krishna is giving obeisances to the elders to show us, okay, how we should behave, okay, to the superiors. Lord Shiva offered his respectful obeisance to the Brahma because the Brahma was his father, just as Kashyapa was the father of Vamana. Okay, so this should be our behavior. Okay, I'm moving to the next sloka. Sloka 41. As the sages who were sitting with the Lord Shiva, such as Narada and others, also offered their respective obeisances to the Brahma. Not only Lord Shiva, such as Narada and others, offered their respective obeisances to Lord Brahma. After being so worshipped Lord Brahma, smiling began to speak to Lord Shiva. To Lord Shiva. Okay, Brahma started speaking to Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma was smiling because he knew that Lord Shiva is not only easily satisfied. Okay, Lord Shiva is can be very easily satisfied, but easily irritated as well. He was afraid that the Lord Shiva might be in an angry mood because of he has lost his wife and he had been insulted by Daksha. In order to conceal this fear, he smiled and addressed Lord Shiva as follows. So Lord Brahma knows how his behavior should be because Lord Shiva is not in angry, he is in a peaceful mode. So Lord Brahma smiled at him and Lord Shiva also showed all his and gave his obeisances and he started smiling and started talking to Lord Shiva. Okay. So I'm moving to the next sloka, sloka 42. So here the next section or the last section starts in this chapter. Okay, what is here in this section, section 5? Brahma glorifies Lord Shiva and requests him to, he petitions him. What is that he petitions him? He petitions him to forgive whatever Daksha has done. Please forgive him. Okay, that is what he is requesting him. That is what we will see in this section. Okay, let's move on.
Can I read, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Translation.
Prabhu. Translation, please read, Prabhu. Yeah.
Translation. Lord Brahma said, "My dear Lord Shiva, I know that you are the controller of the entire material manifestation, the combination of father and mother of the cosmic manifestation, and the supreme Brahman beyond the cosmic manifestation as well. I know you in that way." Hare Krishna. Purport, Prabhuji, or translation?
Please proceed, Prabhu.
Purport. Okay. Although Lord Brahma had received very respectable obeisances from Lord Shiva, he knew that Lord Shiva was a more exalted position than himself. Lord Shiva's position is described in Brahma Samhita. There is no difference between the Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva in their original positions. But the Lord Shiva is different from Lord Vishnu. The example is given that the milking yogurt is not different from the original milk from which it was made. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So here Prabhupada is so merciful for us and giving further difference, okay, between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Although the Lord Brahma has received very respectable obeisances from the Lord Shiva, we know that the Lord Shiva is more exalted than himself. Lord Shiva is in position to explain Brahma Samhita. What is Brahma Samhita? He is explaining to us. Prabhupada is explaining. There is no difference between Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva, okay, in their original position. But still, Lord Shiva is different from Vishnu. How we understand? No difference, but still they are different. But how? Here, beautiful example is given by Prabhupada here. Okay, so the milk is there. Okay, yogurt is there. Okay, how yogurt is coming? Yogurt is coming from milk. Yogurt is coming from milk. At the same time, even though yogurt came from milk, yogurt is different, milk is different. Yogurt is different from the original milk. So the original milk, if you call it as a Krishna, yogurt is like a Shiva. All right. This further gave some more understanding on what way they are same, at the same time they are different. Yeah. Okay. So this example must be given some kind of hints to our material brains. Okay, Prabhuji's Mataji's. With this, I'll move on to the next sloka. Okay, sloka 43. Anybody wants to read 43 translation?
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
shall I read? Okay.
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Please proceed, Mataji.
My dear Lord, you create this cosmic manifestation, maintain it, and annihilate by expansion of your personality, exactly as a spider creates, maintains, and winds purport. In this verse, the word Shiva Shakti is significant. Shiva means auspicious, and Shakti means energy. There are many types of energies of the supreme energies of the Supreme Lord, and 1 minute. Energies of the Supreme Lord, and all of them are auspicious. Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara are called Guna Avataras, or incarnation of material
Qualities.
I'm reading from this one mobile. That's right.
Okay, okay.
Material qualities. In the material world, we compare these different incarnations from different
Angles.
different angles of vision. But since all of them are expansions of the supreme auspicious, all of them are auspicious. Although sometimes we consider one quality of nature to be higher than or lower than another. The mode of ignorance or tamoguna is considered very much lower than
others.
But in the higher sense, it is also auspicious. The example may be given here, herein, that the government has both an educational department and criminal department.
Yes.
An outsider may consider the criminal department inauspicious, but from the government point of view,
it is important.
It is important as the education department.
Yes.
And 1 minute. And therefore, the government finances both departments equally without discrimination. Hare Krishna.
You very much. Thank you very much, Mataji. Wonderful reading.
Thank you.
So here it is further explaining. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, all three are Guna Avataras. Okay, we have read this multiple times. So Rajogun, Sattvagun, and Tamagun. Brahma, Rajogun, Vishnu, Sattvagun, Maheshwara, Tamagun are the incarnation of the material qualities. In the material world, we compare these different incarnations with different angles of vision. See, do we need only Tamagun, Sattvagun? Do we need only Sattvagun? We don't need Rajogun, Tamagun. We need all three. Okay, but like if you don't have Tamagun, how can we go for bed? Unless we have a Tamagun, we can't get we won't get our deep rest, a deep sleep. If we don't have deep sleep, how can we part of our devotion service next day? So all gunas are important. That is what is being mentioned. But here Maheshwara, Shiva, is the owner of Tamogun. Okay, doesn't mean that he is in Tamogun. He is not in Tamogun. But he is giving shelter for the people who are in Tamogun. That is how we need to understand. Let us see the example here. Wonderful example. The example is given by a government needs to establish the education department and also criminal department. Both are required. Okay, education department is giving very good knowledge to everybody. So I don't need a criminal department. No, it is also required. Even though I have a education departments, we need a criminal department as well for the criminals. You have to identify the criminals and tackle them, put them in a jails. Otherwise, the society cannot function very smoothly. That is what is required. So all three departments are required here. So the government gives a equal importance, sometimes more importance uh, to the criminal department. If the more criminals are there, if the more criminals are there, why education is not doing well? So we have to balance both. Definitely, education department is also very much required. So this is the best example Prabhupada has given. All right. So I think we can move on to the sloka 44. My dear Lord, your Lordship has introduced a system of sacrifices through the agency of Daksha, and thus one may derive the benefits of religious activities and economic development. So what is religious activities doing? So religious activities doing all these things. Economic development, okay, religious activities and economic development. Under your religious regulative principles, the instruction of 4 varnas and 4 ashramas is respected. The brahmanas therefore owe to follow the system strictly. So it is being glorified. Brahma is glorifying Shiva, saying that because of you only these 4 varnas and 4 ashramas been running, okay, been respected. Okay, it's been started glorifying. Okay, so somebody wants to read this puppet? Hare Krishna.
Can I read it again, Prabhu?
Yes, yes,
Prabhuji,
attention
I'll
there.
read it, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please,
Yeah,
Mataji.
go ahead.
Teja
Yeah.
Mataji. Go ahead,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Vedanta Bhakti.
But,
Srila Prabhupada. The Vedic systems of Varna and Ashrama is never to be neglected, for these divisions are created by the Supreme Lord Himself for the upkeep of social and religious order in human society. The Brahmanas, as the intelligent class of men in society, must vow to steadily respect this regulative principle. The tendency in this age of Kali to make a classless society, and not observe the principles of Varna and Ashrama is a manifestation of an impossible dream. Destruction of the social and spiritual orders will not bring fulfillment of the idea of a classless society. One should strictly observe the principles of Varna and Ashrama for the satisfaction of the Creator. For it is stated in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna that the 4 orders of the social system, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras, are his creation. They should act accordingly to the regulative principles of this institution and satisfy the Lord. Just as different parts of the body all engage in service of the whole. The whole is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Virat Rupa or universal form. The Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are respectively the mouth, arms, abdomen, and legs of the universal form of the Lord. As long as they are engaged in the service of the complete whole, their position is secure. Otherwise, they fall down from their respective positions and become degraded. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
thank you very much, Mataji. Wonderful reading. Teja Mataji. So here again, further, Prabhupada is emphasizing the importance of Varnashrama, Varnas and Ashrama. So even Kali is, what is a Kali's first hit? Okay, multiple puppets we understood before. Their first Kali's strong hit is on Varnas and Ashramas. That is what we are seeing in today's world. But still, you cannot remove them. That's what Prabhupada. You want to progress? We definitely need these 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. So functioning of a body is required, like the entire functioning of the hands, legs, body, everything is required. In the same way, these 4 varnas, 4 ashramas are very vital, very, very important. That is what is Prabhupada is further explaining. That is what is Bhagavad Gita also elaborated or explained to us. Okay, let's move on to the next sloka, sloka 45. O most auspicious Lord, you have obtained the heavenly planet. You obtained the heavenly planets, the spiritual Vaikuntha planets, and the impersonal Brahman sphere of the respective destinations of the performers of the auspicious activities. Similarly, for others who are miscreants, we have destined different kinds of hells, are a horrible, ghastly. So whoever needs to go to the right place, they are going to the right place. But at sometimes, okay, but sometimes it is found that the destinations are just opposite. Okay, so they get more than what they deserve. Okay, because Shiva is granting them. So it is very difficult to ascertain that cause of them. So Prabhupada is further explaining them. Okay, Shiva has a capability to grant our destinations, even though sometimes we are not qualified. It is a mercy of Lord Shiva. Okay, that is what his translation saying. Let us understand the purport. The supreme person of the Godhead is called Supreme Will. It is by the supreme will that everything is happening. It is said that therefore that is not a blade of grass. It's very important. Let's understand this. It's not a, okay, therefore it is said that therefore not a blade of grass moves without the supreme will. Even the blade of grass cannot move without the supreme will. Generally, it is prescribed that the performance of the pious activities are promoted to the higher planetary systems. Okay, so if I do punya karmas, means pure activities, what happens? I'll go to the higher planets. So devotees are promoted to the Vaikunthas. Devotees promoted to the Vaikunthas because they do perform devotional service. Are the spiritual words, different spiritual words. And impersonal speculators are promoted to the impersonal Brahmans. But that is a general destination. Okay, but sometimes some wonders happens. What is that? But it is been described here. It sometimes so happen that a miscreant, okay, like Ajamila, is immediately promoted to Vaikuntha Loka. Not immediately, but like it is been promoted to Vaikuntha Loka simply by chanting the name of Narayana. We all heard multiple times this. Although when Ajamila uttered this vibration, he intended to call his son Narayana. Whom he is calling when he is leaving his body? When he left his body, he was calling Narayana his son. Okay, but Lord Narayana took it very seriously and immediately gave him the promotion to Vaikuntha Loka. How did he? Promoted to Vaikuntha Loka, he sent his dutas. Okay, then they gave his instruction how to do the devotion service, and then finally he reached Vaikuntha Loka. Despite his background, which was full of sinful activities, but still he granted. So that is what these kind of things also do happen. These miracles happens. Similarly, the king Daksha. So he was trying to link. So please give the merciful, show your mercy on the Daksha. So similarly, King Daksha was always engaged in the pious activities. He was involved in prayers, punya karmas. He was doing yajnas. Okay, he was very good in doing yajnas. Previously, we have read, okay, from the purpose. And performing sacrifices, it simply because creating a little misunderstanding with Lord Shiva, he was severely taken to a task. Severely taken to the task. So the conclusion, therefore, is that the supreme will is the ultimate judgment. No one can argue upon it. So we have to fall at the lotus feet of the supreme, and it is his ultimate judgment. He can judge anything. A pure devotee therefore submits all circumstances to the supreme will of the Lord, accepting it is all auspicious. So whether you are punishing me, or you are rewarding me, or you are not rewarding, or you are looking at me, or no, you are not looking at me, everything I take it as a auspicious only. This is very important. A devotee therefore submits all circumstances to the supreme will of the Lord. So he will give everything to the will of supreme. It's up to you to decide what you want to do with me. Accepting it all auspicious. And he will accept whatever he got, he or she gets as a auspicious. Okay. So Prabhupada purpose, Prabhupada words, Prabhupada sentences are golden words for us, for all of us. It has a power to change our person as personality. Okay, our mind. Okay, and takes us towards to Krishna. It has a power. Okay, let's move to the next sloka, sloka 46. My dear Lord, devotees who have fully dedicated their lives unto your lotus feet certainly observe your presence as Paramatma in each and every being, as such that they do not differentiate between one living being and another. Such a person treats all living entities equally. They never become overwhelmed by the anger like animals who can see nothing without differentiation. When a supreme person of the Godhead becomes angry or kills a demon, materially this may be appear or unfavorable, but spiritually it is a blissful blessing upon him. In fact, this particular point we read before. Okay, so if a supreme person of Godhead is angry, is very angry on a demon, he killed. Supreme has killed a demon. Is it a favorable or unfavorable? We read multiple times. It is a favorable. It is a favorable. Okay, he's stopping the more sins. Okay, therefore the pure devotee. It's very important. A devotee do not make any distinction between the Lord's anger and his blessings. So Lord got anger because I need a correction. I need a correction. Actually, his anger should have punished me more, but because, okay, he's so merciful, he just punished me. I'll just pick up an example which happened, an incident happened in the last Adhyatra, okay, which happened in Nizampet, Bachpalli. Okay, Satya Prabhu has just fallen. Okay, he was just bringing the prasadam. Just there was a manhole, it was just broken. So somebody just lifted him, and I went there immediately, and then I was just helping him. Immediately he was saying that immediately, next minute he was saying that. So Prabhu, I should have taken more punishment. Okay, Lord was so merciful, and absolutely he did nothing. I just fell and very little wounded. That's what he was telling. Satyadevata Prabhu was telling. In next minute he was telling that. So the devotee, okay, do not make any distinctions between the Lord's anger or his blessings. So he was accepted very happily. So they see both with the reference to the Lord's behavior with others themselves. A devotee does not find a fault with the behavior of the Lord in any circumstances. So the behavior Lord, he will not question, the devotee does not question the behavior of the Lord in any circumstances. So Prabhupada through his purpose is teaching us, teaching all of us. What our consciousness, he's changing our consciousness towards to feel the Krishna. He's changing our consciousness to reach Krishna. He's filling our consciousness to the Lord. Okay. So let's move on to the next sloka 47. Anybody wants to read this translation, Prabhu? Prabhuji Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, read Mataji. Hare Krishna, read.
Yeah, please proceed, Mataji.
Yeah, translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Persons who observe everything with differentiation, who are simply attached to fruitive activities, who are mean-minded, who are always pained to see the flourishing condition of others, and who thus give distress to them by uttering harsh and piercing words, have already been killed by providence. Thus, there is no need for them to be killed again by an exalted personality like you. Purport. Should I read purport, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, please proceed, Mataji.
Purport. Persons who are materialistic and always engaged in fruitive activities for material profit cannot endure seeing the flourishing life of others. Except for a few persons in Krishna consciousness, the entire world is full of such envious persons who are perpetually full of anxieties because they are attached to the material body and are without self-realization. Since their hearts are always filled with anxiety, it is understood that they have already been killed by providence. Thus, Lord Shiva, as a self-realized Vaishnava, was advised not to kill Daksha. A Vaishnava is described as Para Dukha Dukhi because although he is never distressed in any condition of life, he is distressed to see others in a distressed condition. Vaishnavas therefore should not try to kill by any action of body or mind, but should try to revive the Krishna consciousness of others out of compassion for them. The Krishna consciousness movement has been started to deliver the envious persons of the world from the clutches of Maya, and even though devotees are sometimes put into trouble, they push on the Krishna consciousness movement in all tolerance. Lord Chaitanya advises Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaneya Sadahari. One can chant the holy name of Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the tree. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all senses of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Shishtastakam 3rd shloka. A Vaishnava should follow the examples of such Vaishnava as Haridasa Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, and also Lord Jesus Christ. There is no need to kill anyone who has already been killed, but it should be noted herewith that a Vaishnava should not tolerate the blasphemy of the Vishnu or Vaishnavas, although he should tolerate personal insults to himself. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Wonderful reading. So it's very clear. um, because of the persons who are observing everything with differentiation, that is what Daksha was doing, right? So he's been differentiating, who are simply attached to the fruitive activities. They are only focused on, because of this yajna, what appliances I'll get. Okay. Who are mean minded. Okay. He's talking about Daksha, who are always pained to see the flourishing conditions of others, who thus give distress to them, uttering harsh and praising words, have already been killed. So therefore, no need for you to kill again. So he's saying that, okay, let's give a birth to Daksha. Okay, let's give a body to him. You give a body to him so that this yajna will complete. So he was started pacifying him. Okay, please do that. Okay, so here again, Prabhupada is further emphasizing. Okay, one can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind. That is from Sishtastakam, thinking himself lower than the straw of the street. See, this particular point we have to meditate. It is not easy for us to digest. Thinking himself lower than the straw on the street, lower than the straw on the street, which are much lower than the straw on the street. We should have that level of mindset. That in that way, we should chant. Okay, that our mindset should be that way. That we should chant. So one should be more tolerant than free. At the same time, we should be more tolerant than free. Devoid of all senses of false prestige and ready to offer the respects to the others. In such a state, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. At the same time, Prabhupada is saying that you somebody is insulting you, it's okay, you take it. But somebody started insulting Vaishnavas, you don't need to tolerate. That is what is Prabhupada is telling us. All right. Let's move to the next sloka, 48. My dear Lord, if one some places materialists who are already bewildered by the insoluble illusionary energy of the Supreme Godhead sometimes commit offenses, a saintly person with a compassion does not take it seriously, knowing that they commit offenses because they are overpowered by the illusion energy. He does not show his powers contract him. So it is said that the beauty of tapasvi or the saintly person is a forgiveness. So because you are a tapasvi, you are a saintly person. So the forgiveness is something very important. There are many instances in the spiritual history of the world which many saintly persons, although unnecessary or harassed, did not take an action, although they could have done. So here he is giving an example here. Parikshit Maharaj, for example, was unnecessarily cursed by Brahmana boy. So the kind of Parikshit Maharaj punishment got from a Brahmana boy and the kind of misdeed what he did is very different. Suppose what Parikshit Maharaj did, there was a snake killed. That snake he has put it in the neck of that Maharshi. So, but what is the punishment he got? He got a punishment to leave the body within 7 days. Okay, Parikshit Maharaj, for example, unnecessarily caused by Brahmana boy, and this was very much regretted by the boy's father. But Parikshit Maharaj accepted the curse because he was a pure Vaishnava. Accept curse and agreed to die within a week. Agreed to die within a week as the Brahmana boy desired. So what was the curse given by Brahmana boy? To die within a week. Parikshit Maharaj was an emperor and was a full in power, both spiritual and mental. In fact, he can give a written curse, but he has not done that. But out of the compassion and out of the respect for the Brahmana community, he did not counteract the action of the Brahmana boy, but agreed to die within 7 days. See how merciful he is. Because in fact, he can give a counter curse as well, but he has not done that. Because it was desired by the Krishna that the Parikshit Maharaj agreed to punishment so that the instruction of Srimad Bhagavatam would thus be revealed by the world. Parikshit Maharaj was advised not to take any action. A Vaishnava personally tolerant for the benefit of others. So when he does not show the proneness, this does not mean that the lack of strength. So he has forgiven the Brahmana boy. Does not mean that he doesn't have strength. He has the strength, but he has forgiven. Rather, it indicates that he tolerant for the welfare of the entire human society. Now, Brahmaji is explaining, is pacifying Shiva. Please forgive him. Please forgive Daksha. Okay, let's move on to the next sloka, sloka 49. So, my dear Lord, you never bewildered by the formidable influence of the illusion energy of Supreme Person of the Godhead. Therefore, you are omniscient and should be merciful and compassionate towards those who are bewildered by some illusionary energy. Because here, what happened? Okay, Daksha is under bewildered or the some illusion energy. So because of that reason, he acted like that. So please forgive. And very much attracted to the he was very attracted to the spiritual activities because he was under the influence of Maya. That is what is Brahma was telling. So a Vaishnava is never bewildered by the influence of external energy because he is engaged in the transcendental loving services to the Lord. A Vaishnava, it never happens to him. Why? Because he was doing a loving transcendental service to the Lord. He will not have under control of Maya. But if you are 100% engaged in transcendental services, that happen. So Lord stated in Bhagavad Gita 17.14. Okay. Devaya esha guna mayi mama maya dhruteya mama eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantate. So what he's saying, my divine energy consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome. What Krishna was telling here, my divine energy consisting of three modes of material nature is very difficult to overcome. It is not for you to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me, okay, unto me, can easily cross beyond it. Multiple times, multiple examples we have seen this. Suppose there is a big dog was watching us. We went to a house. Okay. So you want to is it possible for it to cross over the dog? No, it is not possible. You call the person, okay? You know that person, you call that person. That person will come inside and he will say, dog, come inside. We'll just give a signal to dog. The dog will go inside. It is exactly that. A Vaishnava should take care of those who are bewildered by this Maya instead of becoming angry with them. Because without Vaishnava's mercy, they have no way to get out of the clutches of Maya. You want to get out of the clutches of Maya? So get the shelter of Vaishnava's mercy. That is very important. Those who have been condemned by the Maya are rescued by the mercy of devotees. So what we have to do? Vancha kalpatarubhyasa krupasindubhya avacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Take the shelter of Vaishnavas. That is what is being told here. So Prabhupada is telling, take the shelter of Vaishnavas. Then you can overcome the clutches of Maya very easily. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord. They are just like a desert trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone. And they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Those who are under the influence of the illusion energy are attracted to the fruitive activities. But a Vaishnava practice preacher attracts their hearts to the same person of the Godhead, Sri Krishna. Okay, let's move quickly. So I think we're running out of time. Let's move quickly. So the sloka 50. My dear Lord Shiva, you are shareholder of the portion of sacrifice. So he got angry because like he has not invited. Daksha has not invited Lord Shiva and he has not given his share. Because of that he was angry. So now Brahma is what he is confirming. My dear Lord Shiva, you are a shareholder of the person of sacrifice and you are the giver of the result. The bad priest did not deliver you the share and therefore you destroyed everything and sacrifice remains unfinished. Sacrifice is not complete now. It has unfinished. So now you can do the needful and take your rightful share. He's saying that now you take your rightful share and let the sacrifice complete. So he was further saying that, okay, he's requesting, let the sacrifice complete it. Okay, the sloka 51. My dear Lord, by your mercy, there are no purport for this. So we're moving on. By dear Lord, by your mercy, the performer of sacrifice, okay, the king Daksha, may get back his life. Okay, he's requesting, let's give back his life. Bhaga may get his big eyes. His eyes been pulled out. We have seen his previous chapters. Bhrugu, his been mustache is been pulled out. And Pusha, his teeth been completely. They are great sages. But this is what happened. So let them get their back. Okay, all the things, whatever they lost. So please sanction them. That is why Brahma is requesting, pleading Lord Shiva. Okay. So Lord Shiva may be the demigods. Lord Shiva may the demigods and priests whose limbs have been broken. Limbs have completely broken for the priest by your soldiers. Please, soldiers, recover them their injuries by your grace. By your grace, show their grace so that they will recover their limbs back. Okay, that is what is this particular sloka is talking about. So there is no purport. Prabhupada has not given purports for this. So the next, this is the last sloka of this chapter. So which has very, very important instructions for all of us from Prabhupada. So what is saying last, oh destroyer of the sacrifice, please take your portion of the sacrifice and let the sacrifice be complete by your grace. So he is pleading, please take your portion of the sacrifice. Let this sacrifice complete. The result of the sacrifice, you take the portion. Okay, because the demigod has a right to take the portion. You please take your portion. Okay, and let the sacrifice complete. That is what he's pleading in this last sloka. So there are very important paras, okay, from these purport, okay, from this purport. So let us read and understand. I will read this first para, and I suggest like few of us read the second and third paras and understand. A sacrifice is a ceremony performed to please the Supreme Person of the Godhead. Any sacrifice we are doing, okay, okay, is for the what is the purpose of that sacrifice? Yajna. What is sacrifice? Sacrifice is nothing but yajna. What is the yajna supposed to do? It is to please Supreme Person of the Godhead. If it is not pleasing Supreme Person of the Godhead, don't do that sacrifice. That is the instruction for us from Prabhupada. Alright. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, it is stated that everyone should try to understand whether the Supreme Person of the Godhead is satisfied by his activity. We are reading today, we are listening today, we are eating, okay, we are going for satsang, okay, we are doing multiple activities. I am chanting. Is that he's been satisfied by my activity or not? We have to see all my activities ultimately should satisfy Krishna. The aim of our activity should be satisfied by the Supreme Person of the Godhead. The aim of our activities should satisfy the Supreme Person of the God. Just as an office, he has given an example here. Okay, just as an office, it is a duty of a worker, okay, to see that proprietor of the master or the master is satisfied or not. You went to office, if your boss is not satisfied with your work, so what is the use? Your proprietor is not satisfied with your work, what's the use? So everyone's duty is to see whether the Supreme Person of the Godhead is satisfied by one's activity. Activities to satisfy the Supreme God are prescribed in the Vedic literature. Okay, activity satisfy. Which activity is being satisfied with the Supreme Person of the Godhead? That is being mentioned in our Vedas. And execution, how that activity should be executed, also mentioned in our Vedas. That we calling it as a yajna. In other words, acting on behalf of the Supreme Lord is called yajna. Okay. So one should know very well any activity beside yajna is the cause of material body. Okay, yajna is the only thing which is satisfying Krishna. If anything you are not doing yajna, if not coming under yajna, then that is going to, one should be very well any activity besides yajna. If it is not yajna, then that is going to have a material bondage. That is explained in Bhagavad Gita 3.9. What is being explained here? Okay, yajna karmano nyatro loka means yam karma bandhanat. Okay, karma bandhana means that if we do not work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, if you do not work for the satisfaction Supreme Lord Vishnu, okay, then we are going to have a reaction for the work. That reaction is going to again bind us. If that work is binding us means again you will come back to this word. So one should not work for his own sense gratification. Everyone should work for the satisfaction of the God. That is yajna. That is called yajna. Means all our activities should satisfy Krishna. So if you are having some activity which is not satisfying Krishna, means you will have a fruitive action. That fruitive action will give a bondage. Again, but that bondage, you will come back to this God. So Prabhuji's Matajis, you are working, that work, you're going office, again that should have a connect to Krishna. You're getting some money. That money you are utilizing for service of Krishna, for service of Vaishnavas, for service of your Vaishnava family, for serving your parents, for serving your elders, not for our sense gratification. If you are spending your money for a sense gratification, means again bondage will come. That is what is Prabhupada is clearly explaining. Okay. Anybody wants to read this para? This one para? Or these two paras?
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
yeah, please proceed, Prabhu.
After the yajna was performed by Daksha, all the demigods expected prasada, the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Vishnu. Lord Shiva is one of the demigods, so naturally he also expected his share of the prasada from the yajna. But Daksha, out of his envy of Lord Shiva, neither invited Shiva to participate in the yajna nor gave him his share after the offering. But after the destruction of the yajna arena by the followers of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma pacified him and assured him that he would get his share of prasada. Thus, he was requested to rectify whatever destruction was caused by his followers. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So here it is giving the importance of prasada. See what Shiva is expecting, he is expecting the remnants. Okay. So he is expecting prasada, which is remnants of foodstuffs offered to Vishnu. See, every week, okay, or every day we are offering our breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything, all the food to Krishna, and we are eating. How fortunate we are! We are eating the remnants of prasada. We are eating the remnants of Krishna, Vishnu. Okay, here what? Unfortunately, he has not invited. Even though the Lord Shiva is such an exalted position, he is not invited. Neither invited nor offered his share. So because of that, he got angry. Okay. So Brahma is ensuring that now you will get your share. Okay. Okay. He will get your remnants. Okay. Which is offered by Lord Vishnu. So how fortunate we are. Unfortunate thing is we're not understanding how fortunate we are. That is what Lilananda Prabhu always says. That. Okay. In Bhagavad Gita 3.11, it is said that all the demigods are satisfied when we perform yajna. Because the demigods expect prasada from yajna. Demigods also are also very happy because they are expecting, they are receiving prasada from the yajna, and yajna must be performed. Those who engage in the sense gratification material activities must perform yajna, otherwise they will be implicated. Thus the Daksha, being a father of the mankind, he's a father of mankind, was performing yajna, and Lord Shiva expected his share. That is the bare minimum thing expected. But since Shiva was not invited, this was a trouble. By the meditation of Lord Brahma, okay, by mediation of the Lord Brahma, no, that is all we are seeing. However, everything was settled satisfactorily. That is what Prabhupada further explaining. Anybody wants to read this last para? Very important para. It's a summary. It's been explained here. Anybody wants to read this? Or if nobody is there, I will proceed. Anybody wants to read?
I'll read it, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Sri Gopal Prabhu, please proceed.
The performance of yajna is a very difficult task because all the demigods must be invited to participate in the yajna. In this Kali Yuga, it is not possible to perform such costly sacrifices, nor is it possible to invite the demigods to participate. Therefore, in this age, it is recommended Yajna Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Hi Sumedashaha. Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Those who are intelligent should know that in the Kali Yuga, there is no possibility of performing the Vedic sacrifices. Thus, unless one pleases the demigods, there will be no regulated seasonal activities or rainfall. Everything is controlled by the demigods. Under the circumstances in this age, in order to keep the balance of social peace and prosperity, all intelligent men should execute the performance of Sankirtana Yajna by chanting the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One should invite people, chant Hare Krishna and distribute prasada. This yajna will satisfy all the demigods, and thus there will be peace and prosperity in the world. Another difficulty in performing the Vedic rituals is that if one fails to satisfy even one demigod out of many hundreds of thousands of demigods, just as Daksha failed to satisfy Lord Shiva, there will be disaster. But in this age, the performance of sacrifice has been simplified. One can chant Hare Krishna, and by pleasing Krishna, one can satisfy all the demigods automatically. Hari Bol.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Srigopal Prabhu. Wonderful reading. So here the summary of everything Prabhupada is mentioning here. So intelligent man should execute the performance of Sankirtana Yajna. So invite the people, have the Sankirtana Yajna, because we can't do all other yajnas. Okay, it is not possible. Here Prabhupada is clearly mentioned. Even if you miss to invite one demigod, okay, he may not be happy. Okay, because of the reason, but Sankirtana Yajna, everybody will be very happy. So what we have to do? We chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and distribute prasada. This is the highest yajna in this Kali Yuga. That is what Prabhupada is finally summarizing here. That is for, okay, that is the peace and prosperity of this world. That is what, who does that? A intelligent man does that. Intelligent Prabhuji, intelligent Mataji does that. Okay, thus ends Bhakti Vedanta purpose of 4th Canto 6th chapter Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva. Hare Krishna. Please forgive me if I have say any mistakes or anything. Okay, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Danut pranams to everyone. I'll just stop sharing in case if you have any questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prasad Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. Thank you. Very nicely done, Prabhuji. You prepared well. Thank you.
I just read the purpose of Prabhupada. That's all.
Thank you, Prasad Prabhu. Dhanavad pranam. Wonderful.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Raj Prabhu. Danut pranam.
Hare Krishna Prasad Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Dandavat.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Wonderful class, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Teja Mataji. Danut pranam.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Shilpa Mataji. Danut pranam.
So if there are no questions, then we'll close the class. Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya
Sarvesya kripa
sindhubheva cha patitanam
patitanam
pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Grandraj
Nitai
Bhagavatam
Bhagavatam
ki
ki
jai
jai.
jai.